Om Sarvadharmastapakatvam Sarvadharmaswarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. O establisher of all the faiths, embodiment of all the religions, the greatest teacher among all the teachers, O Sri Ramakrishna, my salutations to you. Sri Ramakrishna teaching us various spiritual teachings, giving us the insights of these spiritual truths with so many examples. The simple examples that we can easily relate to and grasp what Sri Ramakrishna is teaching us. Sri Ramakrishna taught us about the mind, how the mind can be trained. The mind can be trained to get attached to the worldly things, or the mind can be trained to develop dispassion for this worldly attachment. Sri Ramakrishna gave us that example of the white cloth. The white cloth, it has just come from the laundry, all clean, washed and ironed, and it is ready to be colored. Now, this cloth, if we put in the tub of a red dye, solution of red color, the cloth will pick up red color. If we put it in the green tub, it will pick up the green color. If we put it in the blue tub, it will pick up the blue color. And Sri Ramakrishna says, in the same way, the mind, if we put it in the tub of dispassion, it will pick up the color of dispassion. But on the contrary, if we dip it in the color of worldliness, then it will pick up all the attachment, all it towards the worldly temptations. So Sri Ramakrishna says, we have to use the power of discrimination and put the mind in that suitable color so that it develops total detachment for the worldly temptations. And then Sri Ramakrishna also taught us that everything is in the mind, the bondage, the liberation. And then he said, you repeat the mantra 100 times. I am bound, I am bound, I am bound. The mind will get bound to the worldly temptations. But repeat the mantra, I am free. I am the child of God. I am the child of my mother. Who can bind me? Your mind will never get attached to any of these worldly temptations. You will be free. You will be liberated from these worldly attachments. So that is how Sri Ramakrishna has taught us. Then again he said that if a snake bites a person, and if he vehemently says that I have no poison in me, I have no poison in me, I have no poison in me, no poison can harm me in any way, that person will never be harmed by that poison. In the same way, Sri Ramakrishna says, let us always say, I am not bound, I am not bound, I am free, I am liberated. That's how we will become. Now, for that Sri Ramakrishna says, one should have a strong faith in the love of God. Strong faith, love, attachment towards God. Now, how can that be done? This is possible only when we have that strong attachment towards God, when we have that strong love for the lotus feet of the Divine Mother. How can that love and devotion and attachment towards the God, towards the Mother can be developed? Now, Sri Ramakrishna has already told Sri M during one of his earlier visits, the 3 ways of the satsang, getting into the company of holy men. Constantly chanting the name of God, constantly singing the glories of the divine in the company of the holy men, that will get us into the practice of constantly dwelling our mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. It will develop that devotion and love for God. Another thing he has told us was, to Sri M and also to us, he had told was, develop the habit of meditating on the God. Constantly think of God, think of God, think of God, think of God. Whatever duty we are doing, continue doing the duties, but mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the second thing. And third thing, he had told Sri M that get into solitude once in a while. Get into solitude, just me and my mother. There are no other disturbances from the worldly matters. No worldly disturbances. It is only me and my Lord. It is only the servant and the master. It is only the child and the mother. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna had told. And today again to these Brahmo devotees who are mostly householders, they have their own occupations, they have their own worldly duties, all of them. So to them Sri Ramakrishna once again says that even if one lives in the world, one must go into solitude once in a while. See, Ramakrishna gives such a great emphasis on that once in a while solitude, just to eliminate all the distractions of the world, to take away all these worldly distractions and just me and my mother. So for that, he pleads to us, he requests us, he begs of us, please go into solitude once in a while. It will be of great help to a man if he goes away from his family, lives alone and weeps for God even for 3 days. Sri Ramakrishna says, get away from your family, get away from your social networks and weep for God for 3 days. Weep for God, weep for God's love, weep for devotion to God, cry for 3 days. And then Sri Ramakrishna realizes, I think 3 days is too long a period for these people to get away from their family and friends and social circles. So Sri Ramakrishna is so liberal, he's so considerate that then he says, even if he thinks of God for 1 day in solitude, forget about 3 days. Even if he weeps for God for 1 day in solitude, when he has the leisure, that again see his compassionate nature of Sri Ramakrishna. How lenient. Forget about 3 days, just 1 day. And 1 day he doesn't say, go immediately pack up your bags and off to the solitude. Right now, no. Whenever at leisure, whenever you have time, whenever your office leaves are getting sanctioned, just for 1 day, get into solitude and we cry to God for that devotion. That is good enough, Sri Ramakrishna says. And then he says, his lamentation. Sri Ramakrishna laments that people shed whole jug of tears for wife and children. But who cries for the Lord? That is his real lamentation. Everyone weeps and cries for wife, children, for the family, for the friends, for the society. Oh, this is not good. Please do good. Please do this. Please do that. But Sri Ramakrishna questions, who cries for that devotion of the Lord? Does anyone shed even a drop of tear from the eyes for the devotion of Lord? People shed jug full of tears, whole jug of tears for the sake of the family, for the friends, for the society. But who cries for the sake of the love of God? Now and then one must go into solitude and practice spiritual discipline. Living in the world and entangled in many of its duties, the aspirant during the first stage of spiritual life finds many obstacles. During the initial phase of spiritual life, everything is an obstacle. When we just take up this path, we find all the obstacles on this path. Everything is detrimental. How to proceed forward then? And then Sri Ramakrishna gives this solution for that get into solitude at least for 1 day at your leisure. At least for 1 day, get into solitude and cry for the devotion for the Lord. And then Sri Ramakrishna, to put that point across, he gives a very simple and example from our day-to-day life that we always see around us. Sri Ramakrishna says, when the trees on the footpath are young, they must be protected, they must be fenced around. The small trees, when they are planted, we put a fence around them to protect them so that the cattle or the animals like goats, they don't come and disturb them. They don't cut and they eat them. So we put a fence around them. So Sri Ramakrishna says, in the same manner, put a fence, getting into solitude once in a while during these initial phases of your spiritual life, during the initial stages of the spiritual life. Put that fence. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, the fence is necessary when the tree is young, but it can be taken away when the trunk is thick and strong. Then the tree won't be hurt even if an elephant is tied to it. Once the tree becomes strong, once the trunk becomes strong, once our spiritual base becomes strong, it takes some strong shape, then nothing of this world can harm us. No cattle, no goats, no sheep, they can come and harm this plant. Then even if we tie an elephant, then even if we get ourselves bound to the worldliest of the things, we will not get harmed. We know how to save ourselves. We are that strong. The trunk of our spiritual foundation becomes so strong that we can face any calamities, we can face any obstacles. But in the initial stages, it is extremely difficult. Because Sri Ramakrishna says, everything that comes across us is an obstacle. So, to prevent from that obstacle, to put us away from the path, we have to get into solitude once in a while. And then be for the devotion. Get that devotion. And once the devotion is strengthened, then nothing in this world can trouble us. Nothing in this world can harm us in any way. Another most apt example, most pertinent example Sri Ramakrishna gives here in this case of the necessity of getting into solitude is that of a typhoid patient. Sri Ramakrishna says, you have a typhoid patient at home, and in the same room you are storing all kinds of spicy and savory things which are going to trouble this typhoid patient all through. He won't be recovered at all. You have those pickles, you have got those spicy snacks. Everything, all the junk food is surrounding him. How can he recover from that typhoid patient? So Sri Ramakrishna says, what is the best way of recovery? Take out typhoid patient from that room. Let him be away from all these allurements. Let him be away from all these temptations. And only then the typhoid patient can be recovered. The disease of worldliness is like typhoid. And there are huge jug of water and a jar of savory pickles in the typhoid patient's room. If you want to cure him of his illness, you must remove him from this room. The worldly man is like that typhoid patient. This is the typical condition of a worldly man, the typhoid patient. And the various objects of enjoyment are the huge jugs of water around. And the craving for their enjoyment is his thirst. He wants to enjoy all these temptations, all these things which are tempting him. If he keeps on doing it, how can he be recovered of the fever of worldliness? The very thought of pickles makes the mouth water. The very thought of pickle, so many attractive pickles, the green chili pickle, the mango pickle, the prawn pickle, the fish pickle, all sort of pickles are there, the mixed fruit pickle. How can I control my temptation? My mouth will start watering just looking at them. And how can I be recovered? The very thought of pickles makes the mouth water, and you don't have to bring them near the patient at all. By the look at it, by the sight of those pickles, just by thinking about enjoying those pickles, his mind will go haywire. The companionship of woman is the pickles. So all these things, they amount to the pulling down the spiritual aspirant from his path to the path of worldliness. These are all the things they are pulling him down. And he's surrounded by them. And Poor patient is surrounded by all these obstacles and temptations which can never allow him to be free from the fever of the worldliness. And therefore, Sri Ramakrishna says, hence the treatment in solitude is necessary. Remove the typhoid patient from that room till he gets recovered. Now, it doesn't take long, Sri Ramakrishna says, just one day. He says, one day be away from all these worldly temptations, get into solitude and weep and cry to gain that devotion towards the lotus feet of the Lord. One may enter the world after uttering discrimination and dispassion. And again, Sri Ramakrishna gives that same example of the 6 alligators. 6 alligators of the lust, anger, greed, aversion, and pride, envy. All these 6 alligators, which are bound to pull us down, which are bound to destroy us. These 6 alligators, Sri Ramakrishna says, can be kept away. We can protect ourselves from these 6 alligators by applying turmeric to our body. And what is the turmeric? Sri Ramakrishna says, dispassion and discrimination is that turmeric. You apply the turmeric to the body. The alligators with the strong smell of the turmeric, it will repulse them. They won't come near you. They won't harm you. They won't trouble you. So apply the turmeric of discrimination and dispassion and then get into the water of worldliness, having attained devotion to the lotus feet of the Divine Mother. So what is discrimination? Discrimination is constant thought on what is real, what is unreal. Now Sri Ramakrishna says, it is the realization of God alone is real and eternal. That is the ultimate realization. God alone is real and eternal, and that all else in this universe that we see, that all else in this universe that we perceive through our senses, we see, we touch, we hear, all these things that we perceive through our senses, they are all unreal, they are all transitory, they are all impermanent, they are all going to go away. They have a very limited existence in this or the scale of this infinite time frame. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna says. Always discriminate on this. What is real, what is unreal? God alone is real. Everything else that we see around us, everything else that is surrounding us is all unreal. God is the only reality. You must cultivate intense zeal for God, Sri Ramakrishna says. You must feel love for Him and be attracted to Him. This is how you can live in this world while being in the world, without getting influenced, without getting tempted by any of these worldly temptations. Such a wonderful teaching Sri Ramakrishna has taught us today through all these very interesting and very simple examples. So that is our teaching for the day. Om Namah Shri Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Jai Thakur, Jai Ma, Jai Swamiji.